Hello. I'm going to be telling you about a guided tour being held during Pride Month, of course, at the Bristol Aquarium. Bristol Aquarium's Queer Fish Bash dives into Pride Month. Ah, Bristol, that place where the cathedral was turned over by the bishop to host a pagan celebration, and also the place where a mindless mob tore down a statue of a city benefactor and threw him into the harbour. So here we have the mindless mob. Isn't that, obviously a mob of well-bred gentlefolk? And the Bristol Museum's answer to that was not outrage, but the Colston statue. What next? The statue is now on permanent display in the Bristol People Gallery as part of a display about the history of protest in Bristol. Colston was tangentially associated with the slave trade. He was not a slave trader so far as I've been able to ascertain, but that didn't matter to these people. As some of you old-timers might remember a couple of videos I made a while ago about Bristol Cathedral turning over its premises to, a dramatic and I'd say sacrilegious ceremony celebrating the new religion of Extinction Rebellion. And it was together with priestesses, a font not full of holy water but of oil. Well, just look at it. It was described as a powerful installation by some, and it was accompanied by chanting and ceremonial. I wonder how they got all that oil there anyway, and how they cleaned it up afterwards. Anyway, here's a picture of the bishop with the Sacred Virgin. To my disappointment, she wasn't ceremoniously immolated in front of the altar they'd erected. Whatever, I'm reminding you of this only to draw your attention to the attitude of the people of Bristol, a city famous not only for turning its cathedral into a pagan temple and for throwing statues of 18th century benefactors into the harbour, but also now for hosting adults-only tours of the aquarium, tours that are adults only because they celebrate Pride Month by showing their fascinated visitors, or should I say pilgrims, all the non-binary fish they have in their collection. Yeah, when they describe something as a queer fish, that's exactly what they mean. And I'm Granniopteryx. Please like this video, please share and please subscribe. Remember, YouTube sometimes does clean outs of subscribers in much the same fashion as I do spring cleaning. I clear everything up and 2 weeks later I realise I've thrown away something I really, really need. Also, if you want to contribute to the Granniopteryx Keep My Horses Shod Fund, you can do that via PayPal, Subscribestar, Buy Me a Coffee or Super Thanks. Right, let's get on with the celebration of trans fish. So here we have it. Bristol Aquarium's Queer Fish Bash dives into Pride Month. Some sub-editor had a little fun there. From fish that change sex to rainbow-lit tanks, Bristol Aquarium's Sunset Seas offers an inclusive, adults-only celebration of diversity in all its forms. I keep talking about the degeneration of the English language, don't I? And I do that because it's important that we know what we're talking about. Diversity is all its forms. They're just repeating themselves there. Diversity would be enough. They're just, I'll tell you, actually, now I come to think of it, that's because diversity is such an overused word that the person who wrote this subheader had to do in all its forms because he or she wasn't quite sure what diversity means anymore. And here you have what I'm talking about when I say we have to understand our language and use it properly, because diversity is so overused. Obviously, this sub-editor didn't actually realise what it meant. OK, you could play a starring role in the Bristol Aquarium team. Yeah, it's a starfish. Bristol Aquarium is diving into Pride Month with a unique adults-only event that brings marine magic and LGBTQ celebration together in one spectacular evening. This will be on Friday, June the 28th, running from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So if you're in the Bristol area at the time, you'll know exactly where to spend your Friday evening. The inaugural Sunset Seas exhibition is timed to coincide with Pride Month and will shine a spotlight on both human and marine diversity. I don't know for sure what they'll be talking about on this guided tour through the non-binary sea world, but I'd lay money on one of the fish of interest being the clownfish. Here's a picture of the clownfish, which would be, I suppose, a shining star in the non-binary universe, seeing as they generally breed in couples, and if the female of a couple dies or otherwise absents herself, the male becomes a female and then chooses a new male mate. This is not a fish tale, it actually happens. There are other sea creatures that have similar survival strategies, and that's the point. This is something I'll bet the guided tour probably won't concentrate on. It's a survival strategy. It's not as if the male clownfish dresses up as his late lamented fish wife so he can parade around the coral reef picking up casual partners for a bit of hooking up. No, it's a survival strategy for the species. While the whole tragedy of being what is referred to as a trans woman is that he, or she, however you want to look at it, is unable to reproduce. Well, unable to reproduce unless it's the sort of fake trans woman with broad shoulders and the pink t-shirt who insists on being called ma'am.
It's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I can call the police if you'd like me to. You need to settle down.
You need to settle down and mind your business, okay?
Both of you guys?
Ma'am. Once again, ma'am.
I said both of you.
No, you said sir. Once again, it's ma'am.
I actually said both of you guys. It was general.
Right beforehand, you fucking said sir.
Sir? Okay.
Motherfucker, take it outside. If you want to call me sir again, I will show you a fucking sir.
I apologize.
Motherfucker.
I apologize now.
Right, that's a real lady. OK, so yeah, I bet he can reproduce, but not in quite the way that most females would see it as reproduction. I don't honestly see how it's possible to use the sea world as corroboration for a non-binary lifestyle. Not only that, but we're talking here about the least developed and least intelligent of life on Earth, with the exception of, well, outliers, such as the cephalopods and the marine mammals, all of which are very gender specific. Sea creatures aren't exactly giants of intellect, are they? So going to an aquarium, sipping cheap wine and hearing about jellyfish and sponges that aren't confused about their gender simply because they don't have enough brain to be confused about anything, well, that's hardly a recommendation. Is it now? All this tour of nonsense says to me is that when people need to find something to confirm their view of themselves, they'll grab onto absolutely anything. And so long as there are people like Miss Odell here, where is she? Chloe Odell, Events and Experiences Manager at Bristol Aquarium, who says, our oceans are full of incredible stories of transformation and diversity. So long as some people have Miss Odell to feed their desire for a seal of approval, they'll grab for it, even if it comes from a slipper limpet. Yeah, handsome chap, isn't he? Or she, depending on what part of its life cycle it is. As for me, I have to confess I found the exact fish to confirm my identity. It's called the sarcastic fringehead. Yep, that's a real fish. Quite a beaut, isn't she? Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.